The chrono device on my left wrist is burning hot against my skin, counting down the final 3 seconds before displacement. 2, 1, and then the world tears apart. I materialize in darkness, the acrid smell of cigar smoke and diesel fuel filling my lungs. My boots hit concrete and I'm stumbling forward, catching myself against a rough stone wall. The air is thick, humid, pressing against me like a wet blanket. Havana, October 1962, the edge of nuclear annihilation. I can hear shouting in Spanish, angry voices echoing off what sounds like a narrow alleyway. My eyes adjust quickly, chromofiber coat settling around my shoulders as my neural implants sync with the temporal displacement. The mission parameters scroll across my vision, but I already know why I'm here. Somewhere in this city, in the next 72 hours, a Soviet submarine commander will receive an order that shouldn't exist, an order that will push the world past the brink. I need to find him before he receives it. A woman's scream cuts through the night, sharp and desperate. My body moves before my mind catches up, muscle memory from 100 missions propelling me toward the sound. I round the corner into a wider street, dimly lit by flickering street lamps that cast long shadows across crumbling colonial buildings painted in faded pastels. 3 men in militia uniforms have cornered someone against a wall. I can see the silhouette of a woman, her hands raised defensively. One of the men is laughing, saying something in rapid Spanish about counter-revolutionaries and making examples. The others are agreeing, their rifles slung casually over their shoulders as they close in. This isn't my mission, this isn't why I'm here, but I've never been good at walking away. I step into the pool of light from the nearest street lamp, making sure they see me. My Spanish is flawless, one of the benefits of neural language implants, though. I keep my accent intentionally neutral. Gentlemen, is there a problem here? All 3 men turn, startled. The woman takes the opportunity to press herself harder against the wall, her face still hidden in shadow. The leader of the group, a thick-set man with a patchy beard and corporal stripes, looks me up and down with suspicion. My coat, my clothes, everything about me screams foreign, which in revolutionary Cuba means dangerous. "Who are you?" he demands, his hand moving to the rifle on his shoulder. "A friend of the revolution," I say smoothly, walking closer with my hands visible and non-threatening. I heard shouting, thought perhaps someone needed assistance. "This woman is an enemy of the state," the corporal says, but there's uncertainty in his voice now. She was seen speaking with Americans at the embassy before it closed. I see. And what was she saying to these Americans? That's none of your concern, comrade. I'm close enough now to see the woman properly. She's young, maybe 25, with dark hair pulled back in a practical bun and eyes that flash with intelligence and fury. There's a small cut on her lip, fresh blood trickling down her chin. She's wearing a simple dress, once white but now dirty and torn at the shoulder. When our eyes meet, I see something there beyond fear. Recognition, maybe, or hope, or both. "Everything that concerns the revolution concerns me," I say to the corporal, pitching my voice with just the right amount of authority. "I'm here on direct orders from the Soviet advisors. We're coordinating communication protocols for the naval operations. If this woman has been in contact with the Americans, I need to interrogate her personally. Intelligence value. It's a gamble, a big one, but the corporal's expression shifts from suspicion to something like relief. The Soviet presence in Cuba right now is massive, overwhelming, and nobody wants to step on the toes of their Russian allies, especially not a corporal from the local militia. "Of course, comrade," he says, stepping back. "We were just securing her for questioning." "Excellent work. I'll take her from here. Return to your patrol." The corporal hesitates, glancing at his companions. One of them, younger and more nervous, whispers something I can't quite catch. But then the corporal nods, adjusting his rifle. "Very well. But if you need assistance with the interrogation, I'll know where to find you." They leave, their boots echoing on the cobblestones as they disappear back into the maze of streets. The woman hasn't moved, still pressed against the wall, watching me with those intelligent eyes. Now that we're alone, I can see she's trembling, though whether from fear or adrenaline I can't tell. "Thank you," she says in English, her accent distinctly American despite the Spanish surname embroidered on a small badge pinned to her dress. "Dr. Elena Vega." But I don't think that's going to keep me safe for long. Probably not, I admit, looking around the empty street. We should move. Do you have somewhere you can go? Somewhere they won't look? She laughs, a bitter sound. Nowhere in Havana is safe right now. The whole city is a powder keg. Everyone's waiting for the bombs to fall. They won't. Not if I can help it. She studies me more carefully now, her scientific mind clearly working through the puzzle I represent. Who are you? You're not Soviet. You're not Cuban. Your Spanish is too perfect, like you learned it from a computer. And your coat. She reaches out, touches the chromofiber material with curious fingers. This fabric doesn't exist. Not here. Not now. Smart. Dangerously smart. My name is Nikola Brown, I tell her, making a decision that goes against every protocol in the Chrononaut handbook. And you're right. I'm not from here. I'm from a long way away, and I'm here to prevent a nuclear war. Her eyes widen, but she doesn't laugh or call me crazy. Instead, she looks down at the chrono device on my wrist, its display showing temporal coordinates that shouldn't be possible with 1962 technology. Time travel, she whispers. My God, it's real. We need to move, I say again, more urgently this time. I can hear voices in the distance, more militia patrols making their rounds. Is there somewhere we can talk? Somewhere private? She hesitates only a moment before nodding. Follow me, and stay in the shadows. We move through the streets of Havana like ghosts. Elena leading me through narrow alleys and abandoned courtyards, avoiding the main thoroughfares where military vehicles rumble past loaded with nervous soldiers. The city is beautiful even in its decay. Spanish colonial architecture crumbling gracefully under layers of revolutionary paint and propaganda posters. But there's a tension in the air that goes beyond politics. A collective holding of breath that comes from knowing you're living on the edge of annihilation. Elena takes me to a small apartment building on the outskirts of old Havana, its facade pockmarked with bullet holes from some earlier conflict. We climb 3 flights of stairs in darkness before she produces a key and lets us into a cramped studio apartment. The space is sparse but organized. Books stacked neatly on a makeshift shelf, scientific papers covering a small desk by the window. This is your place? I ask, glancing around while she lights an oil lamp. The electricity must be out again. Was my place, she corrects, moving to the window to peer through the curtains at the street below. I haven't been here in 3 days. Been hiding with friends, but they're getting nervous and I'm running out of options. What did you do? Why were those men after you? She turns to face me, the lamplight casting dramatic shadows across her face. She's beautiful, I realize, in that particular way that intelligent women are beautiful when they're scared and angry and refusing to back down. I'm a physicist. Was a physicist before the revolution decided that academic freedom was bourgeois propaganda. I was working at the University of Havana on nuclear research before Castro shut down the program. Nuclear research, I repeat, pieces clicking into place. That's why you were at the American embassy. I was trying to warn them, she says quietly. The Soviets aren't just bringing missiles to Cuba. They're bringing something else, something worse. My blood runs cold. This isn't in the mission briefing. What do you mean? 3 days ago, I was visited by a former colleague, Ivan Volkov. We studied together in Moscow before I came back to Cuba. He's a Soviet military scientist now, working with the submarine fleet that's been deployed to Cuban waters. He was drunk, guilty, trying to warn me. He said they've equipped one of the submarines with something he called the dead hand. Dead hand, I murmur. The term is familiar from future history, a Soviet doomsday device, but not from 1962. It shouldn't exist yet. What is it? An automated nuclear response system. If certain parameters are met, if command and control is destroyed, if communications are cut off, the system automatically launches a full nuclear strike without human intervention. Ivan said they tested it on one submarine, the B-59, as a prototype. He said the captain doesn't even know it exists. This is worse than I thought. Much worse. My mission was to prevent a rogue order from reaching a submarine commander. A historical incident that nearly caused World War III when a Soviet submarine under depth charge attack almost launched a nuclear torpedo. But if there's an automated system, if there's a dead hand protocol already active, then the situation is exponentially more dangerous. Where is this submarine now? I ask urgently. In the blockade zone, last I heard. The Americans have been dropping practice depth charges, trying to force Soviet submarines to surface and identify themselves. If the B-59 is down there, if the crew thinks they're under attack, if communications are disrupted. She doesn't need to finish the sentence. We both know what happens next. I need to reach that submarine, I say, my mind already racing through possibilities. I need to disable that system before it activates. That's impossible. It's underwater, probably hundreds of feet down, surrounded by American destroyers and Soviet escort vessels. Even if you could somehow reach it, how would you get inside? I look down at the chrono device on my wrist, running calculations. Temporal displacement underwater is technically possible, though the energy requirements are massive and the margin for error is microscopic. But if I can get the exact coordinates, if I can time it perfectly. Let me worry about the how, I tell her. Right now I need you to tell me everything Ivan told you. Every detail about the dead hand system, about the B-59, about the protocols. We spend the next hour going through everything she remembers, Elena's eidetic memory proving invaluable as she reconstructs technical specifications from fragments of drunken conversation. The dead hand system is crude by future standards, but sophisticated enough to be lethal. It monitors radiation levels, air pressure, communication signals, heart rate monitors on key crew members. If it detects what it interprets as a nuclear strike, a certain combination of factors, it initiates an automatic launch sequence. The trigger is multi-factored, Elena explains, sketching diagrams on a piece of paper. But Ivan said the key vulnerability is the psychological assessment protocol. The system monitors the captain's stress levels, his decision-making patterns. It's designed to take over if the captain is incapacitated, or if he hesitates during what the system determines is a critical moment. So it's trying to remove the human element from nuclear war, I say grimly, making sure nobody chickens out at the last second. Exactly, but it's flawed. Ivan said the parameters are too sensitive, the AI too primitive. It could easily misinterpret a situation, trigger a launch when it's not warranted, like when the submarine is being depth charged by the Americans. Like that, I stand, pacing the small apartment, trying to formulate a plan. The mission has just gotten exponentially more complicated, but there's no choice. If that dead hand system activates, if it launches a nuclear torpedo at the American fleet, the retaliation will be immediate and overwhelming. The Cuban Missile Crisis will stop being a crisis and become a holocaust. I need to meet Ivan, I say. Can you arrange it? Elena shakes her head. He disappeared after he came to see me. I think he realized he'd said too much. But I know where he was staying, a Soviet compound near the harbor. If he's still in Havana, it's a start. She looks at me for a long moment and I can see her making a decision similar to the one I made when I saved her from the militia. I'm coming with you, she says firmly. Elena, this is dangerous. More dangerous than anything you've experienced. I'm a physicist who speaks Russian and Spanish, who knows Ivan and understands the technical specifications of the system you're trying to disable. You need me, Nikola, whether you want to admit it or not. She's right, of course. I do need her, but the thought of putting her in more danger makes something twist uncomfortably in my chest. It's a feeling I recognize from other missions, other times, other women who've gotten under my skin when I should have kept my distance. All right, I say finally, but you follow my lead, and if things get dangerous, you run, understood? Understood, she agrees, though we both know it's a lie. We leave the apartment as dawn begins to break over Havana, the city slowly waking to another day of uncertainty and fear. The streets are more crowded now, people queuing for bread with tired, anxious faces. Military vehicles rumble past constantly, and everywhere there are posters showing Fidel's stern face above slogans about revolutionary vigilance and socialist brotherhood. The Soviet compound is a converted colonial mansion near the harbor, its walls freshly painted and bristling with armed guards. Elena and I watch from across the street, pretending to examine produce at a market stall while we study the security patterns. There, Elena whispers, nodding toward a side entrance. That's where the scientists and technical staff come and go. Less security, but you need identification. Can you get us in? She reaches into her dress and pulls out a small card, worn and creased. My university ID. It has Soviet academic credentials on it. Might work, might not. Only one way to find out. We wait for a shift change when the guards are distracted and tired, then approach the side entrance with confidence. The guard there is young, barely 20, and he examines Elena's ID with bored indifference. When he looks at me questioningly, I launch into rapid Russian about being Elena's research assistant, about urgent consultations on seismic monitoring equipment, about deadlines imposed by Moscow that make no sense given the current political situation. It's a calculated gamble based on one universal truth. Guards everywhere hate bureaucracy, and nobody wants to be the person who causes a delay because they asked too many questions. The guard waves us through with barely a glance, and just like that, we're inside the compound. The interior is a strange mix of Spanish colonial elegance and Soviet utilitarianism. Ornate tile floors covered with military-grade carpeting, carved wooden archways marked with Cyrillic directional signs. We move quickly through corridors, Elena leading me toward the residential wing where she thinks Ivan might be staying. We find him in a small room on the 3rd floor, sitting at a desk with his head in his hands, surrounded by empty vodka bottles and crumpled papers. When we knock, he looks up with bloodshot eyes and his face goes pale with terror when he sees Elena. "You shouldn't be here," he says in Russian, stumbling to his feet. "Elena, they're looking for you. They know you were at the American embassy. If they find you here..." "Ivan, this is important," Elena says, switching to Russian as well. "This is Nikola. He's here to help. He needs to know everything about the dead hand." Ivan's eyes flicker to me, suspicion warring with desperation. "Who are you? CIA? Some kind of saboteur?" "I'm someone who wants to prevent a nuclear war," I tell him honestly. "The dead hand system you installed on the B-59 is going to activate, maybe in the next 24 hours. And when it does, it's going to launch a nuclear weapon that will start World War III. You can't know that," Ivan says, but his voice lacks conviction. "I do know that, and you know it too. That's why you tried to warn Elena. That's why you've been drinking yourself into oblivion instead of sleeping." He collapses back into his chair, a broken man. "I tried to tell them," he whispers. "I told my superiors the system wasn't ready, that the parameters were too sensitive, that we needed more testing. But the orders came from Moscow, from the highest levels. They wanted a fail-safe, something that would guarantee retaliation, even if our entire command structure was destroyed. They said it was the ultimate deterrent. It's not a deterrent if it launches by accident," I point out. "I know. God help me, I know." He looks up at me with haunted eyes. "What can you do? Even if you could reach the submarine, the dead hand is hardened against tampering. You'd need the override codes, and those are locked in a vault in Moscow." I think about my chronofiber coat, about the various tools and technologies built into it that don't exist in 1962. What if I told you I had technology that could bypass the system entirely? Shut it down at the hardware level? It would need to be something beyond anything I've ever seen, Ivan says skeptically. "It is." He studies me for a long moment, and I can see him processing what that might mean, the implications of technology that doesn't exist. When he looks at Elena, she nods slightly, confirming whatever unspoken question he's asking. "All right," he says finally. "I'll tell you everything. But you need to understand, the B-59 is deep in the blockade zone right now. The Americans have been harassing it for days, dropping depth charges, trying to force it to surface. The captain, Valentin Savitsky, is under enormous pressure. The political officer is demanding action. The crew is exhausted. The air is bad. The batteries are running low. All the conditions that could trigger the dead hand. How long do we have? Hours, maybe less. The last communication I heard said they were detecting increased activity from the American destroyers, more depth charges. If they lose contact with the surface, if the stress levels spike too high, the system will interpret it as nuclear war and initiate launch protocols. I need the submarine's exact coordinates." Ivan goes to his desk, pulls out a map marked with Cyrillic notations. "Here, about 40 kilometers north of Cuba, depth approximately 300 meters. But these are hours old. The submarine could have moved. It's enough. I study the map, committing the coordinates to memory while my neural implants calculate displacement vectors. It's possible. Difficult, dangerous, with a high probability of failure. But possible. There's something else you need to know, Ivan adds quietly. The dead hand has a final failsafe. If someone tries to disable it incorrectly, if it detects tampering, it immediately triggers an emergency launch. You'll have one chance, Nikola. One attempt. If you fail, the torpedo launches immediately. Perfect, because this wasn't already complicated enough. How do I disable it? Ivan pulls out a pencil, begins sketching technical diagrams with practiced precision. The system has 3 components: the monitoring suite, the decision matrix, and the launch mechanism. You need to disable them in sequence. Each one has to be deactivated before you can access the next. The monitoring suite is in the forward torpedo room, hidden behind a false panel. The decision matrix is in the captain's cabin, disguised as a radio repeater. The launch mechanism is in the torpedo itself. And if I get the sequence wrong, the world ends. Elena has been listening quietly, but now she speaks up. There has to be a way to do this safely. A manual override, an emergency shutdown. There is, Ivan admits, but it requires simultaneous deactivation of all 3 components. You'd need at least 3 people, working in perfect coordination, all acting in the same second. Otherwise, the system interprets it as an attack and launches anyway. I think about this, running through scenarios. 3 simultaneous actions on a Soviet submarine, hundreds of feet underwater, while under attack from American destroyers. It should be impossible. It is impossible, by any conventional measure. But I'm not conventional. I need you to do something for me, Ivan, I say, making a decision. I need you to get a message to the submarine. Tell them there's a technical inspection required on the aft battery systems, emergency maintenance, create a distraction, something that will get most of the crew focused on one part of the submarine while I work on the dead hand. They won't believe me. Not now, not with everything happening. Make them believe you. You're the scientist who installed the system. Tell them you detected an anomaly in the monitoring data, something that could cause a catastrophic failure. Sell it, Ivan. Lives depend on it. He nods slowly, straightening in his chair. Some of the self-loathing is fading from his face, replaced by determination. When? 2 hours. I need time to prepare. I'll do what I can. Elena and I leave the compound the same way we came, slipping out during another shift change. We make it 3 blocks before we hear the shouting behind us. Orders barked in Spanish, the sound of boots on cobblestones. Someone must have recognized Elena, or Ivan was seen talking to us, or we just ran out of luck. Run, I tell Elena, and we do. Havana is a maze, and we use every trick I've learned in 100 chases across 100 time periods. Through markets, scattering vendors and produce, down alleys barely wide enough for one person, over walls, through abandoned buildings, always moving, always one step ahead of the militia that's hunting us. But they're coordinating now, using radios, cutting off streets. We round a corner and find ourselves facing a squad of soldiers, rifles raised. We reverse course only to hear more shouting from behind. Trapped. This way, Elena gasps, pulling me through a doorway into a building that was once a church, but has been converted into some kind of warehouse. Inside is dark, dusty, filled with stacked crates and the smell of old incense. We can hear the soldiers entering behind us, spreading out to search. Upper level, I whisper, spotting a rickety staircase leading to what was once a choir loft. We climb quietly, the ancient wood creaking under our weight. From above we can see the soldiers below, methodically checking behind every crate, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Elena is pressed against me in the narrow space, her breathing rapid, her body warm against mine in the tropical heat. When she looks up at me, there's something in her eyes beyond fear. Recognition, maybe. Understanding. The acknowledgement of 2 people who found themselves in an impossible situation together. If we don't make it out of this, she whispers, so quietly that only I can hear, I want you to know I don't regret helping you. Even if they catch us. Even if everything goes wrong. Some things are worth the risk. We're going to make it, I tell her, though I'm not sure I believe it. I didn't come all this way to fail now. Below, one of the soldiers is getting closer to the staircase. In moments, he'll look up and see us. I reach for the chrono device on my wrist, calculating rapidly. I don't have enough charge for a full temporal displacement, not after the trip here, and definitely not with enough reserve for the underwater jump I'll need later. But maybe, just maybe, I have enough for something else. I adjust the settings, targeting not time but space. A short-range spatial displacement, like the one I used on my second mission in Alexandria. Dangerous, imprecise, but better than being shot. Hold on to me, I tell Elena. And whatever happens, don't let go. She wraps her arms around me without hesitation, trusting me completely. The soldier's flashlight begins to arc upward toward our position. I activate the device. The world stutters, reality folding in on itself like a sheet of paper crumpling. There's a sensation of falling and flying simultaneously, of being everywhere and nowhere. Elena makes a small sound of shock against my chest. Then we're materializing, stumbling, in a different part of the building, behind a stack of crates near what used to be the altar. The soldiers are shouting in confusion, their flashlights sweeping the upper level where we were seconds ago. In the chaos, Elena and I slip through a side door into another narrow alley, and then we're running again, deeper into the maze of old Havana. We don't stop until we're miles away, in a different district entirely, huddled in the doorway of an abandoned building while we catch our breath. Elena is staring at me with wide eyes, processing what just happened. "You teleported us," she says, disbelief and wonder warring in her voice. "Spatial displacement," I correct. "Different principle, same result. You're really from the future." "I'm really from the future." She laughs then, a slightly hysterical sound that turns into something genuine. "This is insane. Everything about this is completely insane. Welcome to my life." We find shelter in another safe house, this one belonging to a friend of Elena's who asks no questions when we show up disheveled and exhausted. The friend, an elderly woman named Rosa, provides food, water, and a place to rest. Elena and I take turns keeping watch while the other sleeps, neither of us trusting that we're truly safe. When it's my turn to rest, I can't. My mind is racing with the upcoming mission, with all the variables, all the ways it can go wrong. The chrono device shows I have about 45% charge remaining. Enough for one underwater displacement, maybe two if I'm lucky, but not enough for error or extended stays. Elena is sitting by the window watching the street. I join her, and we sit in companionable silence for a while, listening to the sounds of the city settling into uneasy sleep. "Tell me about the future," she says eventually. "Do we survive this? Does the world make it through?" "You know I can't tell you that. Can't or won't. Both." I pause, considering how much to reveal. "But I will say that humanity has an incredible capacity for survival. We stumble. We make mistakes. We come right to the edge of destroying ourselves. But somehow we always find a way to step back. That's not very reassuring. It wasn't meant to be. The truth rarely is." She turns to look at me, her face illuminated by moonlight filtering through the window. "What about you? After this mission, where do you go? Somewhere else, some other time, another crisis, another chance to make a difference. That sounds lonely." "It is. Do you ever get to stay? Find someone? Build a life?" I think about the women I've met across time, the connections made and left behind. The Roman noblewoman in Pompeii, the resistance fighter in occupied Paris, the mathematician in Baghdad. Each one brilliant, brave, unforgettable. Each one impossible to keep. "No," I say quietly. "I don't get to stay. That's not fair. Fairness has nothing to do with it. This is what I chose." Elena reaches out, takes my hand. Her fingers are warm, steady. "Then I'm grateful I get to have you now. Even if it's just for a little while." We sit like that, holding hands in the darkness, two people from different worlds, sharing a moment of connection before the chaos resumes. And I know, with the certainty that comes from experience, that I'm going to remember her. Another brilliant woman, another impossible goodbye. When the time comes just before dawn, I prepare for the displacement. Ivan managed to send the message, a confirmation arriving via coded radio transmission that Rosa's house can somehow receive. The submarine crew is responding to the false emergency, focusing on the aft battery compartments. I have a window of approximately 20 minutes to get in, disable the dead hand, and get out. Elena helps me check the chromofiber equipment, her scientific mind cataloging every piece of technology with fascination. "This is incredible," she murmurs, examining a quantum scanner built into my coat lining. "The applications of this technology, if we could study it properly, which is exactly why I can't leave it behind," I remind her gently. "I know." She steps back, looking at me with an expression I've seen before on other faces in other times. Admiration mixed with sadness, pride mixed with loss. "Be careful down there." "Always am. Liar." I smile, then pull her close, kissing her. She melts into it, her hands fisting in my coat, and for just a moment, the mission doesn't matter. The submarine doesn't matter. Nothing matters except the taste of her lips and the feeling of being fully, completely present with another person. When we break apart, she's breathing hard. "Come back," she says, "somehow, find a way." "I'll try." It's the best I can offer, and we both know it's probably a lie. I input the coordinates into the chrono device, triple-checking the calculations. 300 meters underwater, inside a Soviet submarine with a margin of error measured in centimeters. One mistake and I materialize inside solid steel, or in the ocean, or not at all. Displacement in 30 seconds, I tell Elena. "Tell Ivan thank you. Tell Rosa thank you. And Elena." "I know," she says softly. "I know." The device counts down. 20 seconds. 15. 10. Elena is watching me with those intelligent eyes, memorizing every detail. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. The world tears apart. I materialize in darkness and claustrophobia, the smell of diesel and sweat and fear hitting me like a physical force. The submarine is cramped, hot, every surface dripping with condensation. Emergency lighting casts everything in red, and I can hear the crew shouting in Russian from somewhere aft, responding to Ivan's fake emergency. I'm in a narrow corridor, and I move quickly, orienting myself using the mental map Ivan provided. Forward torpedo room first. I can hear the American depth charges in the distance, dull thuds that make the hull groan and the lights flicker. The crew is terrified, exhausted, on the edge of breaking. The torpedo room is guarded, but the guard is distracted by the chaos, arguing with someone over a radio. I slip past him using training that won't be developed for another 50 years, techniques for moving through spaces without being seen. The false panel is exactly where Ivan said it would be, behind a rack of torpedoes. I pull out a quantum scanner, locate the dead hands monitoring suite behind the panel. The mechanism is crude but effective, a maze of wires and vacuum tubes and primitive circuit boards. I have to be careful, precise. One wrong move and it all ends. The tools built into my coat make short work of the panel. Inside, I can see the monitoring suite, exactly as Ivan described. Radiation detectors, pressure sensors, a primitive biometric scanner wired into the captain's cabin. I begin the deactivation sequence, following Ivan's instructions precisely. My hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my system. The American depth charges are getting closer, more frequent. The submarine lurches with each impact, and I have to brace myself to keep working. Behind me, I can hear the guards starting to pay attention, wondering who I am and what I'm doing. "Hey!" he shouts in Russian. "Who are you? What are you doing there?" I don't answer, focusing on the final connections. Almost there. Just a few more seconds. The guard is approaching, unsafely his sidearm. Another depth charge hits closer, and the lights flicker out entirely for a moment. In the darkness, I finish the sequence, disconnect the monitoring suite, feel it power down. One component disabled. 2 to go. The lights come back on, and the guard is pointing his pistol at me. "Step away from that panel, now!" I raise my hand slowly, turning to face him. He's young, maybe 19, his face pale with fear and exhaustion. The gun is shaking in his hands. Behind him, I can see other crew members starting to investigate the commotion. "I'm here to help," I tell him in Russian. "Even Volkov sent me." Emergency maintenance on the special equipment. I don't know any Ivan Volkov, and you're not one of our maintenance crew. His finger is tightening on the trigger and I realize I'm out of time for diplomacy. I move fast, closing the distance before he can react, redirecting the gun away from me with one hand while striking his wrist with the other. The pistol falls and I catch it before it hits the deck, then reverse it using the grip to strike a pressure point on his neck. He collapses, unconscious, but alive. The other crew members are shouting now, raising an alarm. I have minutes, maybe less, before the entire boat is looking for me. I sprint through the corridors toward the captain's cabin, dodging startled sailors, my chronofiber coat making me hard to grab as I weave through the cramped spaces. The captain's cabin is occupied. Captain Savitsky himself standing at his tiny desk, looking at maps and shouting orders into a radio. The political officer is there too, Vasily Arkhipov, arguing with Savitsky about something in heated Russian. I burst in without knocking, startling both men. Savitsky reaches for his sidearm, but I'm faster, pulling out the one I took from the guard. "Don't," I say sharply. "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to save you." "Who are you?" Savitsky demands. He's older, weathered, with the eyes of a man who's been pushed too far for too long. "How did you get on my boat?" "That doesn't matter. What matters is the dead hand system, the automated launch system that was installed without your knowledge. It's about to activate, and when it does, it's going to launch a nuclear torpedo at the American fleet above us." Savitsky and Arkhipov exchange glances. "I don't know what you're talking about," Savitsky says, but there's uncertainty in his voice. "The radio repeater," I say, pointing to a device on the wall that looks innocuous but has too many cables for what it should be. "That's the decision matrix, part of a system designed to launch a nuclear weapon automatically if it detects certain conditions that are about to be met. Another depth charge, closer than before, rocks the submarine. The lights flicker again, and somewhere in the boat, something ruptures with a metallic screech. The hull is groaning under the pressure, the stress, the repeated impacts. "Even if such a system existed," Arkhipov says carefully, "why would you want to disable it? Unless you're an American saboteur." "I'm not American. I'm not Soviet. I'm just someone who knows that if that torpedo launches, it triggers a chain reaction that kills millions of people, including everyone on this submarine." Savitsky looks at me for a long moment, and I can see him processing, weighing, deciding. He's been a submarine captain for 20 years. He knows his boat, knows something is wrong, knows that the pressure they've been under isn't natural. "Show me," he says finally. I move to the radio repeater, pulling out my quantum scanner. The readings confirm what I suspected: an active decision matrix monitoring stress levels, communication patterns, environmental factors. It's seconds away from triggering. "We need to disable it now," I say urgently. But there's a problem. This has to be disabled simultaneously with the launch mechanism in the torpedo itself. If we do it sequentially, the system interprets it as tampering and launches anyway. Simultaneously? Savitsky looks at Arkhipov, then back at me. That's impossible. We'd need to coordinate perfectly down to the second. I look at my chrono device running calculations. Not impossible. Difficult, but not impossible. I can do this, but I need your help. I need you to trust me. Another depth charge, and this one is close enough to knock loose insulation from the ceiling. The submarine is groaning like a dying animal, and I can hear water starting to leak somewhere. The crew is panicking, shouting about pressure breaches and battery failures. Savitsky makes a decision, the same kind of impossible decision that men make when there's no good choice. Only the least terrible one. "What do you need?" "Access to the torpedo with the launch mechanism, and 5 minutes without interruption." He nods to Arkhipov. "Take him. I'll handle the decision matrix on your signal." We rush back to the torpedo room, Arkhipov shouting orders that clear the space of confused, frightened crew members. The torpedo in question is marked with specific Cyrillic designations that only Ivan would have known to tell me about. I can see the dead hands launch mechanism integrated into the torpedo's electronics. A crude but effective fail-deadly system. "This is insane," Arkhipov mutters, watching me work. If this system really exists, if someone really installed it without the captain's knowledge, they did. And right now, the only thing that matters is stopping it. I'm working as fast as I can, tracing circuits, identifying the critical connections. The chrono device is helping, its sensors showing me data that shouldn't be possible to detect. But the work is still delicate, dangerous. One wrong cut and everything ends. The American depth charges have stopped, but that's almost worse. It means the destroyers above are getting ready for something else. Maybe real depth charges. Maybe torpedoes of their own. The submarine is dead silent, except for the groaning of stressed metal and the labored breathing of exhausted men. Almost there, I mutter, more to myself than to Arkhipov. Just a few more connections. Then I see it. The final component. The trigger mechanism itself. It's active, counting down, seconds away from initiating the launch sequence. I have to coordinate with Savitsky, have to disable this at the exact moment he disables the decision matrix. I pull out a small communication device built into my coat, tune it to the submarine's internal frequency. "Captain, are you ready?" "Ready," comes Savitsky's tense voice through the speaker. "On my mark, 3, 2, 1. Mark!" I cut the final connection with a precise slice of a chromofiber blade, severing the trigger mechanism from the launch system. Somewhere in the submarine, Savitsky is doing the same to the decision matrix. For a moment, nothing happens, and I'm terrified that we missed, that the failsafe activated anyway, that the torpedo is about to launch. Then the lights flicker and stabilize. The groaning of the hull quiets slightly, and the torpedo remains dormant, its nuclear warhead inert. "It's done," I say into the communicator. "The system is disabled." There's a long moment of silence, then Savitsky's voice, tired and relieved. "Thank you. Whoever you are, wherever you came from, thank you." I'm packing up my equipment, preparing to leave, when Arkhipov grabs my arm. "Wait, you can't just disappear. We need to know who you are, how you knew about this. Who else might have compromised our security?" "I understand, but I can't stay. And you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Try me." I look at him. This man who in my timeline will be remembered as the man who saved the world, who refused to authorize a nuclear launch even when his superiors demanded it. He doesn't know it yet, but in just a few hours he'll face another decision just as critical, and he'll make the right choice again. "I'm a traveler," I tell him simply. "I go where I'm needed, when I'm needed. And right now, I'm needed elsewhere." Before he can respond, before anyone can stop me, I activate the chrono device. The submarine dissolves around me, replaced by the familiar disorientation of temporal displacement. I'm targeting the coordinates where I first arrived, the alley in Havana, with just enough charge left to make the jump. I materialize in morning sunlight, the alley empty except for a stray cat that hisses and runs. My coat is soaked with seawater. My hands are shaking from adrenaline, and the chrono device is showing less than 5% charge remaining. But it's done. The dead hand is disabled, the submarine is safe, and World War III has been averted. For now. I make my way back to Rosa's house, moving carefully through streets that are still under militia patrol. When I arrive, Rosa lets me in with a knowing look but no questions. Elena is in the main room, pacing anxiously, and when she sees me, she runs over, throwing her arms around me. "You're alive," she says, relief flooding her voice. "I was so worried. The radio report said something happened to one of the Soviet submarines, but the information was confused, contradictory." "It's handled," I assure her, holding her close. "The dead hand is disabled. The submarine is safe. The world gets to keep spinning." She pulls back, looking at me with those intelligent eyes. "And now you leave." "Now I leave." "When?" I check the chrono device. The charge is critically low, but there's enough for one more displacement, back to my home time. But the window is narrow, maybe an hour before the device automatically initiates emergency extraction. "Soon," I tell her. "Not yet, but soon." We spend that hour together, sitting in Rosa's small garden, talking about everything and nothing. Elena tells me about her research, about her dreams for the future, about the life she wants to build after the crisis passes. I tell her about the stars, about the vastness of time, about the incredible things humanity will accomplish in the decades to come. "I wish I could see it," she says wistfully. "All those wonders you've witnessed. You will. in your own way, in your own time. You'll live through the space race, the moon landing, the fall of the Berlin Wall. You'll see humanity reach for the stars. Will I make a difference? Will my work matter? Everyone makes a difference, Elena. Every choice, every action, every moment of courage ripples forward through time. You've already made a difference more than you know. The chrono device chimes softly, warning me that displacement is imminent. I stand, and Elena stands with me, understanding without words that our time is up. I won't forget you, she says, reaching up to touch my face. Wherever you go, whatever time period you end up in, I want you to know that these few days meant something. You meant something. I won't forget you either, I promise, and I mean it. You saved the world just as much as I did, Elena. Remember that. One final kiss, this one tender and bittersweet, and then I'm stepping back, activating the device. Elena is watching me with tears in her eyes, but she's smiling, brave and brilliant to the end. Goodbye, Nikola Brown, she says. Goodbye, Elena Vega. The world tears apart one last time, and I'm falling through the temporal stream, leaving Havana and 1962 behind. When I materialize, I'm back in the Chrononaut facility, technicians rushing over to check my condition, ask about the mission, debrief me on what happened. I tell them the mission was successful, that the timeline is secure, that the Cuban Missile Crisis will pass without nuclear war. I don't tell them about Elena, about the hours spent running through Havana's streets, about the kiss in the darkness. Some things are too personal, too precious to share in mission reports. Later, alone in my quarters, I research what happened to Elena Vega. The historical records are sparse, but they exist. She survived the revolutionary period, continued her research in physics, eventually became a professor at the University of Havana. She never married, focused instead on her work, published extensively on nuclear physics and disarmament. She died in 2018 at the age of 81, respected and admired by her colleagues. In her obituary, there's a quote from an interview she gave late in life. I was once asked if I believed in miracles, she said, and I answered that I had seen one once in 1962, when the world came right to the edge of destruction and somehow stepped back. I spent the rest of my life studying the science of that moment, trying to understand how we survived. But in my heart, I know the truth. We survived because someone cared enough to save us, someone brave enough to do what was necessary no matter the cost. I read those words and feel something in my chest tighten. She remembered. Across all those years, all those decades, she remembered. The chrono device on my wrist chimes again, this time with a new mission alert. Another time, another place, another chance to make a difference. I look at the coordinates, already feeling the familiar mix of anticipation and weariness that comes with this life I've chosen. But before I accept the mission, I take a moment to remember Havana, to remember Elena, to remember the feeling of running through those narrow streets with someone who understood the stakes, who was willing to risk everything for a chance at survival. That's the thing about being a chrononaut. Every mission ends, every connection breaks, every goodbye is final. But the memories remain, bright and sharp and precious. The reminder that for all the darkness in history, for all the moments when humanity teeters on the brink, there are also moments of courage, of connection, of people choosing hope over despair. I saved the world in 1962, but Elena Vega saved something in me, something I didn't even know needed saving. The belief that these missions matter, that the sacrifices are worth it, that somewhere in the vast expanse of time, the people I meet and help and sometimes fall for are living their lives, making their own choices, building their own futures. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that has to be enough. I accept the new mission, feel the chrono device begin its preparation cycle. Somewhere in time, someone needs help. Someone is facing impossible odds, staring into the abyss, needing just one person to step forward and say, "Not today." I can be that person. It's what I do. It's who I am. I am Nikola Brown, a traveler through time and history. If you enjoyed this adventure of mine, subscribe to the channel and share it, and